Hello and welcome to the Y Generation. Great to have you with us again. Yes, as expected, we'll be discussing all the hot topics that matter to our generation. The panellists are super keen and ready to go, and here they are. We have Adam.
Hello, Australia.
Osas.
Hey.
Amanda.
Hey.
And Shane.
Represent.
We'll dive straight into it. Here's a letter that was sent in to us from a guy who needs our help. Hi, panel. My best mate just got his first serious girlfriend and I'm stoked for him. He suggested a double date with me hooking up with one of her hot friends. The only problem is that his new girlfriend is 18 and so is her friend. I just don't feel right dating a girl that's still in school when we're 24 years old, but he says she might be the one. He also says his parents have a 15-year age gap that no one questioned, especially as they got older. Do you think an age difference matters when it comes to relationships? Joel, the age gap question. Can our panellists lend any wisdom to our friend? Amanda?
Well, that's 6 years that he was saying there. My partner's 6 years older than me. So no, I don't think age matters at all in relationships. I think whatever the difference, it's fine. Love is love. It's not conquered by age at all. So no, it's fine.
Adam.
I like how this guy is actually nervous that he's just got like an 18-year-old girlfriend and he's like, oh, woe is me. Like, how can I make this decision? For me, you take what you can get. So like I used to have like a rule. Yeah, just look what I'm wearing. I mean, I used to have this rule where I had maybe 2 to 3 years. Like, you know, that's the age difference I had. But you kind of find that you've got slim pickings after that because they're still saying no. They're still saying no. So look, my advice is, I mean, just, you know, silence and you've just gotten a fish, reel it in.
Shane.
Well, if it's anything Anna Nicole Smith taught us is that age and love definitely are not related at all.
Amen.
Realistically though, I do think there does come a point where age and relationships do matter. And that point is really the transition from teenagehood through to adulthood. And that's not something that we have just, you know, made up and put in place because we think that's acceptable. Yeah. Like biologically, there's a lot to do with it, mentally as well. A lot of, you know, teens who are in high school don't have a lot of responsibilities. They don't understand what happens to life when you're in charge of your own life. And in some cases, when you have a lot of in charge in someone else's life. Teenagers tend to think that relationships, you know, are all about affection and nothing else. But, you know, there's a lot more to it. You're investing a lot. You're there to share the best and the worst. And sometimes the worst can be financial hardships, personal hardships, and unfortunately even, you know, losses in the family or friends. So, you know, when it comes to teenagers and adults, it's a different ballgame altogether.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Yeah, if they're still teenagers, then that's clearly understandable and stuff. Because at the end of the day, you see people actually say age doesn't matter. Age is just a number. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, what matters is how mature you are as a person. But if you're 18 or you're let's say 17 below, you should definitely be dating someone your age, someone still in school or something like that. But what you find is when you see people that are like way older, they have the advantage on the younger person because they've gone through a lot when it comes to experiences in terms of dating. And you see some high school girls, some high school guys, they just go out of school and their mind is still fresh. They want to get into dating and they don't know a lot about it. So that older person actually has the advantage over that younger person. And that tends to be a problem in the long run because when it comes to age, if it's a big gap between the both of them, I think it's something they need to question.
So what about prejudices like women that date younger men, they're cougars, they're dating toy boys, or women that date older men, they're gold diggers? Amanda, what do you think about these prejudices? And do you think that there are male prejudices as well?
I don't know, it always seems to be that if the guy's got the younger girl, he's a legend. But if a woman is with a younger guy, there's something wrong with her. But
that's the other way around now.
Yeah.
Like if the guy gets the older women, it's definitely like balling or something. You know? Like,
for the guy though, but not so much for the woman. I'm saying from the perspective of the woman, it's not as, her girlfriends aren't going to be like, woo, high five. Whereas the guy, all his friends would be like, sweet, you're the man. Yeah. So for the woman, I think it's a bit of a different way. Not that there's anything wrong with it. If she wants to do that, go for it.
fine, yeah.
But I just think it's seen in a different way as it is for the guy.
I think it's not fair that we're actually having this topic right now, because when I was actually 19, I wanted to date like an older woman. Like, if she was like 26 or 27, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like, my friends used to be like, she had a car.
So she could drive?
She had a job. She had a car. She had a job. She was
Your
living by
license is
herself
love.
too. You know what I mean? So I had no problem. I was actually,
So she was the one.
well, technically then she was kind of, I wasn't moving towards that direction, but I thought about it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Screwed up.
Like, I just go over to her place and she cooked me a nice meal. And I was nice with that.
You had it made,
So-
dude.
All right.
Oh, she was a good cook.
I'm sure that topic's still stirring a few pots at home, but we will move on. We do have another letter. Hey, YGen, my older sister gets everything she wants and is my mum's favourite. She has a better job and gets paid more than I do, so she goes to the mall every day to pick up something new. Yup, she's a shopaholic. Anyway, she always teases me and says my clothes are weird and old, and that I'd look much better in this season's grunge pastel plaid beaded style. I think when she goes out with her friends, they look like a bunch of sheep. I prefer to wear clothes that suit me and that I think are cool, even if they're not in with this week's trend. Please settle the argument. Is it cooler to potentially be the trend or follow the trend? Flash trash. Any emerging clothes designers in our group to lend a helping hand? Shane?
I think I'd like to hear from Hugo Boss over here first.
Look, guys, you may notice this thing called denim on denim. Up and coming fashion, originating from the 80s. Now, I'm not saying it has been brought back yet. It's being brought back now.
But you're
By
clearly
me.
trying by what you're wearing.
Trying and
You're
succeeding.
forcing it upon us, really, yeah.
The fashion of denim on denim has actually gotten to celebrity status. Hugo Weaving at the Sydney Short Film Festival has worn denim on denim. But what I would like to say about starting a fashion trend is, like as you said, we don't want to be sheep. I look at myself as a peacock. I express myself in vibrant colours. I show my confidence through what I wear. So to answer her question, yes. You know, the haters. Haters gonna hate. Just be what you want to be, and I'm gonna be this guy.
Oh, sass.
See, that's actually funny. I love your denim on denim, man. I think it's pretty cool. I think everyone should be rocking denim on denim. It's very necessary. But hey, I think it's cool following trends. I follow trends. Not the recent, not like people. You see a bunch of people. You go to the shops, people wearing the same thing, like 15 or 20 people wearing the same thing all along. Now I'm not the type of person. I'm the type of person that actually go online. I search like a couple of clothes. If it suits you and it's nice, I like it. I'll probably go to the shops and get the same thing as well. Add a little twist to it, you know, just to make it look cool.
But the thing is now, when you see so many people are wearing individual stuff, like you look at everyone and hardly anyone that I see now is wearing the same thing. But isn't that following the fashion trend, to be your own trend?
Okay, you.
Yeah, that's right.
She showed you.
You think
I don't know,
got
you
me.
have to draw a line at some point. There is not following a trend, and then there's the varsity jackets. Let's not forget when that came in. That roared in like a steam train plowed through, and in 2 days, every kid was wearing the same varsity jackets. What about
You
the
had
Von
one, didn't
Dutch
you?
hat era? Does anyone remember that?
Yeah.
I have a Von Dutch
Von
hat.
Dutch
How
in
shameful.
general.
And everyone had one.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the hipstery thing, I think it's people are looking for the same sort of look, but they're definitely
Their
turning
own
into
way.
an individual sort of thing. It is breaking away from trends. It's a new sort of like facet of
It's the term
fashion.
hipster, to be underground, to be indie. But now that we're all underground, we're all just a bunch of moles underground just sprouting out new clothes. I like it.
It's not following trend at the same time though. Like, cause when you're wearing what you're wearing right now, there's someone else definitely wearing it because they think
sure
it's
they
cool.
are.
So I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're all following trends. You know, whether you actually see it on someone, whether you see someone wearing it or not, when you go home and put on like a hoodie like you're wearing right now and a t-shirt, there's someone else definitely
Is
wearing
wearing
the same thing,
clothes
though.
in itself wearing a trend? Because I'd like to do away with that.
Guys,
But then that's a trend itself.
pocket watch. Bringing in the pocket watch
All right, he's
back.
broken away from trends.
It's like,
Yeah,
You are
I'm
your
the
own
exception.
20
person
million
now.
years ago.
All right. Well, you sure as hell won't be catching me in denim on denim anytime soon. Next up, we're talking about the internet and technology, so stay online, people. We'll be back in a second with more of the Y generation. Welcome back to the Y generation. Now, so often other generations label the Y gen with stereotypical views. In this segment, To Be or Not to Be Why, we take a look into some of these views. Our fave reporter Jess went on a mission to see whether people think the internet and technology have ruined us.
Everyone's just obsessed with it. Like, they have to be talking to everyone, like, constantly, like 24 hours. Like, if you're not seeing them, you have to text them. Like, it's pretty intense.
It's just lazy, you know. Instead of going out and finding someone, you can just talk to them on Facebook and stuff like that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, again, drawing back to the thing, maybe like baby boomers were the first generation to grow up with television, and the Y generation the first generation to grow up with internet, and they probably use it to its full capacity rather than being obsessed with it.
For the younger people in our generation, I suppose they see it as just a little online diary where they just say anything, say whatever they think, and sometimes that gets out of hand.
I think we are getting worse.
Yeah.
I'll call you back. I think we are getting worse. That was private. How am I going to call him back?
I think that the internet and technology has severely influenced the Y generation. I don't think it's necessarily ruined them, but it has definitely changed the way, you know, they perceive information, get things done compared to previous generations.
To answer this one, we'll start with, hang on a second. I just have to send a text.
Such a lol. Guys, what are we talking about when we're ruining this generation? I mean, really, what was there to ruin to begin with? We've been in an age of rock and roll, drugs, alcohol. I mean, if anything, if internet has done anything to us, it is like the coup de grace. It may have finished us off, but we're still standing. We, Generation Y, are cockroaches. And we have embraced technology so much that we have entered the Matrix. And as we all know, the Matrix was awesome.
Shane, what are your thoughts on this?
Technology took us out of the dirt, and the internet's really taken us into the future. All like the utopian sort of views of the future from the early 20th century and the 19th century are all starting to actually come to fruition now, and it's all because of technology and mainly to do with the internet. I don't think it has ruined us. We've struggled in some cases to grasp it, but over the next decades, we'll really see it take off and take us to where we're meant to be.
But do you think it's ruined our generation, Amanda?
I don't think it's ruined us when the world is so focused on technology nowadays that I think it's helped us, because if everything's going to go down the path of technology, aren't we the ones most equipped to deal with the future if it's going to be all about technology? So I think, yeah, it's stopped us from playing outside and everything. That's not technology's fault, that's the person's fault. So no, I think it's helped us more than ruined us.
Well, take an example like the Amish. I mean, the Amish don't have anything. So imagine them trying to organise some kind of event. Like they've got no signs.
Have you not seen Witness? They do it quite well.
No, I think if technology wasn't there in the first place, we would still have a way of living our life. We'd still be doing whatever we're doing at first, like playing outside and doing whatever needs to be done. Technology, internet. Let's talk about internet for a minute. You see how people actually don't socialize anymore when it comes to like using the internet. Even when you're hanging out, I was hanging out with my mates the other day. He was on his phone like all through, just texting, and he was on Facebook. It's actually taken a lot away from us. Like, it hasn't actually ruined us per se, but in terms of
well, look at the benefits.
It's just,
I mean,
yeah.
how did you meet up with your mates? You texted each other and said, I'll meet you at PJ Gallagher's Des Moines.
Yeah, but before that, like when I was really young, I mean, you would just push bike ride down to your friend's house and knock on the door, whether they were home or not, it didn't matter. In my teens, when I lived at home at my mom's, if my little brother had his TV up too bloody loud, I would just text him to turn it down, and he was in the room next door.
It's actually taken a lot away.
You heard the
It's not the technology's fault though, is it? Like,
We're still at the
it's us doing that. Like, it's your friend voluntarily being on his phone the whole time. The phone's not making him do that. Yes, it's very inviting, but it's not the phone's
Like,
fault.
think how many times you've Facebooked or tweeted someone and said, let's catch up soon, and not actually done it.
Story of my
All
life.
of us are guilty of that.
See, people don't really catch up anymore, and they'd be like, they'd rather Skype than catch up. So, hey, let's go on Skype. You know, you just live down the road, but hey, let's Skype as well. We might as well just do that instead of catching up. So people rather do things with technology these days. rather than doing it in person. And that's taking that away. When it comes to fun, it's taking the fun away from people catching up. I know we used to send letters, and now we just like send text messages and like emails and stuff, which is a lot easier, and it's good, it's beneficial. But at the end of the day, you have to see the disadvantage of it, that it's taken a lot away from us as, as
it's
individuals.
also helped us a lot.
Yeah, you got the less confident people. I mean, the less confident people have problems going out clubbing and socializing in environments that we like to go to. So the internet has given
Like you,
access.
We keep talking
me.
just about the internet, social media, and communication, but we were talking about technology as well. In the 21st century, technology has really given all of us the ability to stamp out some of our most dangerous diseases, possibly even make some foreground with world hunger and energy crises. All this green and renewable energy only comes from the advances of technology that have happened in the last short while. And these are what we need to do in order to make it the next 20, 30 years. So it has empowered us. It has given us pretty much the only tool we have to make it through the next, say, 5 decades, really.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure we could argue that one for a while. Next up, we fall on our serious side, so get ready, as we'll be right back with more hot topics here on the Y Generation. We're back. Now let's get down to some serious business. We've heard it in the news and seen the outcome. Smuggling drugs into Bali can result in a life sentence or even a death sentence. Does Australia need to adopt stricter drug laws? Sass, what are your thoughts on this?
Stricter laws, yes. Killing people, no. Don't even go that far. I mean, life imprisonment, that's a bit too far too. You know what I mean? Like, there should be more stricter laws and consequences if someone is actually caught doing drugs or smuggling drugs into Australia or something like that. But when it comes to death penalties, I think that's just way too far. It shouldn't be. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? I think when it comes to them, when they're dangerous to you and can really hurt you, a lot of people's attitudes is, it's not going to happen to me. And that really frustrates me. So I think they do need to be harder, because if these people are actually caught with them, then maybe they won't do it again, and that would be amazing. But yeah, I think going to Bali's levels is a bit too intense. I don't want to see some people I know get the death penalty because they're stupid.
The thing is, the people that are smuggling these drugs into Bali understand that that's the penalty, and they still choose to do it. Yeah. Shane.
That comes back to something that you said. You said that, in the opener, that in Bali, it's stopping the drugs from getting in. But it's not, because if it was stopping the drugs from getting in, people wouldn't go. They're still going because they can get it in. So it's obviously not working. There seems to be like a breakdown of logic when it comes to their aims in their sentencing for drugs. I think there needs to be a reassessment and maybe a bit of a change up with the laws. There needs to be sort of a better grading system on different classifications of drugs. Harder drugs should incur stricter penalties, maybe even a lightening up of other illicit substances. But when it comes to capital punishment, in any case with capital punishment, one mistake with capital punishment completely does away with any value that it has in imposing it in any state.
Adam, we haven't heard from you yet.
I've been biding my time for this one. Well, you look about the Australian illegal drugs market. Now, I use the most beneficial search engine, Wikipedia, and we found that the Australian drugs business is about $6.3 billion. The Australian deficit is about 200. I'm just saying, maybe the government should control the drugs. But I'm not condoning the use. I'm just saying, what if we made drugs lame? If we've all made, look at Panadol, for example. Panadol is not the most exciting drug in the world, but it is a drug. It's not something you can have at a party. Just imagine from years to come, we made marijuana like tobacco, just, casual. We could use that tax revenue to better suit, educational reformation. So for drugs such as cocaine and heroin, we could, have more beneficial police services with the money that we made from lighter drugs such as marijuana.
Are you saying that we should decriminalise drugs? Is that what you're
It's a hard thing, but Shane brought it up. We have to different categorize them. So maybe we should make a distinct differentiation between the different types of drugs. I mean, there are certain drugs out there that are very vicious. So you look at heroin. I mean, There's no benefit of heroin.
Heroin will just ruin your life.
Yes.
People on heroin don't look like they're having a good time. But when people think about like drug decriminalization, they think, okay, that's just an excuse for everyone to just use drugs. But what it actually does is it opens up a lot of other aspects of drugs. Research into illicit drugs for medicinal purposes, mainly MDMA, ecstasy, and cannabis, get opened up and explored. Now, there have been studies done, most to do with like heavy depression, post-traumatic stress syndrome, and the effects of, say, ecstasy and MDMA compounds. But as well as that, other industries open up. The hemp industry is a godsend for, the economy, the environment, and also industry. So, decriminalizing, again, is not just an excuse for everyone to go and get high. Decriminalizing really opens us up to a whole world of things.
I mean, like, face it, if the Australian industry of drugs is like a $6 billion business, is stricter laws going to prevent it? It's just going to make better drug smugglers.
All right, well, we'll move on from that one. We do have another hot topic, video games. Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and Mortal Kombat are popular video games that include the use of violence as entertainment. But just because you enjoy killing people in a video game doesn't mean you are unconsciously training to be a murderer. Adam, you're shaking your head.
What? I've been playing Grand Theft Auto for years and I'm still on my learner's license. I can't drive a car. Like, people always have this distinction that as soon as there's an idea projected into your head, you follow suit. I've played violent video games all my life as a stress release. I find that if we use violent video games to release our tension, we have no need to shoot
people?
There's no
I
need
have
to hurt
not
people.
killed people because of video games, I can assure you.
Yeah, like the only time I ever felt violent was when I watched the Justin Bieber movie. I wanted to burn everybody because I had no outlet, but then I played some violent video games and lo and behold, I didn't start any fires.
But doesn't that give you the idea though?
Yeah.
To actually do something that, like...
Everything gives you an idea.
Let's hear from our female panellist, Amanda.
Okay, so I know of a young boy, he's 7 years old, and when he goes to school, he tells everyone that he's going to shoot them. He specifies which gun he's going to use because he knows exactly the projection of that gun. Right. He uses the language that they use in those video games and he thinks nothing of it. He hides around corners to ambush people because that's what they do in the video games. So are you telling me that this is not because of video games?
Who's
this
weird
behaviour?
Who's going to sell a 7-year-old a gun?
Yeah,
where's he going to get the gun from?
He doesn't have to be 7-year-old to buy the gun. Maybe when he's older.
Children are impressionable, and it's not just video games. There are all other sorts of media that really project these really violent ideas, like movies and television have been doing for years now.
You can't learn as much as like how the gun's going to work as you do in a video game from a movie.
That actually breaks down
But at the same time, how far does it teach you? I'm not flying the next Qantas flight out to Dubai tomorrow night because I've played Flight Simulator before, and I'm not going to win the next WRC just because I've played a few Colin McRae rallies.
It's not that it teaches you exactly how to do it, but it's definitely
gives you the idea of it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's
It's right
definitely
there. You know
implanting
it's
the
possible
idea.
to
If
actually
not for
let-
this video game, that boy wouldn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, but he'd get it from TV.
But not
He'd
as
get it from
much.
movies.
Well,
But don't
not as
games have
much.
classifications?
Yes. Why is a 7-year-old playing Call of Duty?
Exactly.
I blame the
Clearly, it's not
parents.
stopping him.
Yeah, it's called money.
I
A
will say
7-year-old
also
doesn't have
from
money.
experience, these games that are rated MA15+ and they're supposed to check IDs, that's
Well,
not always
they've
the
actually
case.
changed. They've
it's
changed the restriction to the R rating system, which happens last year. So, as you said, there is a point that the shops need to start, checking IDs.
He could have older brothers that buy it for him.
buy it
like-
for him.
But these aren't the game's fault. These are the parents' fault. They're the ones that have to stand in this case. This game isn't putting itself into the Xbox and playing it for the kid.
Isn't the old saying goes, guns don't kill people, people kill people?
Yeah, so tech.com says the vast majority of video game players will not become killers, but combine children who have deep emotional problems with simulated military training and you can get real-life massacres.
It's true. And what about all the massacres we've had lately? As awful as they were,
And
that
where did
could
they
be
happen?
It was Batman.
in America.
And what do Americans have that we don't have or any other country have?
They're allowed to have guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it any less important or any less depressing just because they're allowed to have guns. I'm sure deep down, if that person who did it had played video games somewhere in his life, isn't that not spawning an idea of
But
how
there
to
were mass shootings
assassinate
long
heaps of
before there
people?
were video games and before there was
I'm
television.
not saying it's the sole reason for why there's murderers, but I think it definitely has something to do with it now.
In a violent situation, you got in a fight with someone and you're like the type of person that goes home every day and play like violent games and you shoot people, you do drag racing and you do all that. And you know that that's possible, that hey, if that person puts their hand on me one more time, I'm gonna go home and pick up a knife or something, come back and just stab this person. You know it's there, you know it's possible. You know you could actually do it, right?
No, the
And
first
when you
thing-
start playing games all the time, you know and you could do it.
The first thing I'll do is if they have a fight, I'll just run home and like go on Facebook and say, well, somebody tried to hurt me.
Is that what you do?
And then I get all the likes, and I get all the likes. And people
Sorry,
say,
you two, but I'm going to have to break you up because that's all we have time for. And thanks for hanging out with us. For your viewing pleasure, we've unearthed another great Y-Gen video of the week. Enjoy and join us next time for the Y Generation.